Hey guys, in this video I want to show some setups that are going to help you understand how to defend the A bomb site on train. This comes from the match between NaVi versus Astralis at Blast Premier, so let's get started. So this first setup is going to be a 4A setup, 3 players coming from Z, 1 player from Ivy. dupree's going to start things off by throwing a set Molotov towards Olaf. And what the terrorists are going to do is they're going to throw the sandwich and E-box smoke. And these are two very common smokes. You're going to see this on basically every T side. They also add in this Molotov here towards back 6 to prevent Magis from being able to peek towards this Olaf lane and seeing who's really there. What I want to highlight is what Astralis does after seeing these smokes. So you can see that dupree and Glaive, they're going to get into the setup where dupree's playing behind the bomb train and Glaive's playing behind the red train. And how this works is that dupree is basically going to act as a bait. He's trying to draw in the terrorists as much as he possibly can to get them to push through. And what Glaive's going to be doing is he's just going to be waiting behind red train, behind the smoke, waiting to capitalize if any terrorists decide to push through. And dupree, he's going to be doing his absolute best. He's just spamming as much as he can to kind of bait out these terrorists either in terms of utility or bodies to get them to come towards Glaive. Magis, he's going to go on top of the top green train, and he's mostly responsible for holding towards Hell and trying to spot whatever information he can towards this area. What I also want to highlight is that Device, he's actually left Z, right? So he's actually left Z, and he's going to go around towards this back lane area. And you're going to see how this works out for the CTs here in a bit. So what these CTs can do is that they can focus all their efforts on basically fighting off this area here, this Hell Sandwich Olaf area. And Device, by him going towards the back lanes area, he's able to pick up this kill on Boomich towards ladder. And more importantly, he's going to be able to pick up Ivy. So now these players that are fighting in this area, they don't have to worry about getting shot in the back because now Device has their Ivy. And because Device actually left Z, it allows Zipnix to be able to pick up Z in this spot here. And you don't have that overcrowding problem where if you have 2 players towards Z, they're going to start bumping into each other and they're not going to have too much space to kind of cover their teammates. But by Device opening up the Z area, Zipnix, the B player, is able to fill in this gap if the CTs need it. So overall, this is a really good setup to kind of have a very comfortable setup to use when you see that the terrorists are using the sandwich E-box smoke, just because now all your bases are covered. You're able to fight off this area as much as possible. Ivy's going to be covered because you have your player from Z who's going to go in towards this area. And now your B player, he's also able to help just in case things get a little bit too crazy. So this next round is going to be a 3A setup where we're going to be seeing, once again, the sandwich E-box smokes from the terrace. But what I want to show is that this smoke that Astralis throws. So dupree, he's going to throw this super early smoke that's going to land at the entrance of T-Con here, basically. And he's going to find himself into ladder. Glaive, he's going to go past this smoke at E-box, and he's going to find himself right here watching this sandwich angle. And Magis, he's just basically holding towards this T-Con area, waiting to see if anybody's going to be coming towards Olaf. So how the setup works is basically, if there's any players that come out from T-Con where Magis basically misses or maybe he ends up dying, if any terrorists end up coming towards this angle here, towards sandwich, Glaive is going to be able to pick them up, because a lot of the time when terrorists get towards the sandwich area, they're not necessarily going to be looking back at the spot that Glaive is in. As well, dupree's going to be holding towards ladder, so there's actually a second setup that we're seeing here where essentially if there's going to be some pressure onto ladder, dupree, he can dip out of ladder and allow both him and Glaive to be able to fight ladder together, right? At the same time, if there's some pressure onto Glaive for T-Con, where let's just say the terrorists decide to push through the smoke, but dupree and Glaive are going to be able to fight together because dupree will simply be able to just leave ladder and fight this. So how it basically works between these two players is whichever side gets contact first, the other teammate will be able to help them, right? So it makes it a really effective setup to kind of cover both T-Con and ladder at the same time. So you're going to hold this setup for a little bit, and what you're going to notice is that Magis is also responsible for holding towards Ivy, right? Glaive is going to leave his spot towards T-Con as the smoke starts to fade. And now Magis, he's going to throw a smoke towards Ivy to kind of facilitate a rotation. And the rotation that he's facilitating is essentially Glaive and Magis are both going to swap spots. So now Magis, he's going to leave Ivy, and now he's going to cover T-Con. And now Glaive, he's going to leave T-Con, and now he's going to cover Ivy. And a small detail here, but Glaive, he's the one who still has a smoke, right? So he's able to defend Ivy still, and that's the whole reason why dupree throws his smoke first, because dupree's down in ladder, he doesn't really need his smoke for too much. And now this, what it allows is that now Magis, he's able to cover towards T-Con. Glaive, he's now able to cover towards Ivy. He has the smoke to do so. And now once again, the setup between Magis and dupree, very similar to what it was when it was Glaive and dupree. Essentially, if there's pressure that comes from T-Con, Dupree, he can help from ladder to be able to fight towards T-Con. If they come from ladder, Dupree, he's able to, if he's able to get out, Magis will be able to cover him from this E-box area. So overall, a lot of setups that you can use just from these 3 players alone. So this next one, I want to show this early sandwich pick that I'm starting to see a lot of teams use. So essentially how it works is that if you have the best spawn towards Z and you have an op, you should be taking this path here where you jump over the bomb train, you get towards sandwich here to be able to peek towards T-Con. So you can see that Magis, he's that person, he's going to peek towards T-Con. Dupree, he's going to be following it up shortly. He actually threw a nade early in the round to kind of help this as well. And he's going to get towards this Olaf area. So how the setup is going to work is essentially that Magis, he's going to be spawning to see if any terrorists cross towards his T-Con area. And if they cross over, Dupree is basically going to be the one to fight them, right? So Magis is taking first contact and Dupree is going to be the one actually getting the kills. At the same time, Device, he's going to be holding his second op towards Ivy. And he's actually going to get a couple kills here. He's going to get that first kill, also able to get that second kill. And now in a 5v3, now they kind of start to reset here. But overall, you can kind of see that this is a setup that they do at the start of the round where they want to dedicate more of their people towards Olaf, have this opper towards Ivy, because this opper towards Ivy, he can worry about Ivy, and at the same time, if there's presence towards ladder, he can kind of turn around and kind of be able to fight ladder at the same time. And as well, if there isn't too much pressure from T-Con, Dupree, he can actually get into this corner here and be able to fight ladder additionally as well. So you can see this kind of works out in many ways. So this next one is going to be a 4A setup where we're going to see Ivy aggression as well as Device is going to bring his op towards the top red area. But this Ivy aggression we're going to see is that Magisk and Glaive, Magisk going to be throwing the flash, Glaive's going to be throwing an early Molotov straight down, like right in front of the dumpster bins. And this basically allows him to have Ivy control. He's going to throw a nade as well. Device, he's basically just holding towards T-Con. Dupree, he throws a very early Molotov towards ladder. And the reason why he does this is because the rest of his team is doing a bit of a aggressive Ivy aggression here. He doesn't want anybody flying down ladder to be able to challenge the weak parts of the setup, right? So essentially it's this area here which is kind of weak when they're aggressing more towards Ivy. So by him throwing this Molotov, it's basically blocking this option from him. At the same time, Device, he's holding down towards T-Con with his op to prevent anybody from coming out and challenging right away. That's generally what you want to do whenever you're aggressing one part of the map. You want to be able to lock down the other sides with your utility, and that's exactly what Dupree's doing here. That's exactly what Device is doing here as well. So after they end up getting Ivy control, Dupree actually ends up pushing into ladder. He gets Zeused. He ends up dying. So this is going to show you what they do if their ladder player ends up dying. So in this particular case, you see a Magis watching towards ladder. Glaive, he's going to stick around towards this Ivy area because now they're in a 4v5. He needs to get some information. And for him, he's going to be able to find that kill into electronic. And you're going to see this is going to prompt something. Now it's a 4v4 situation. Magis, he's going to toss his Molotov in towards this ladder to facilitate a rotation. He throws that Molotov towards ladder. Now Magis, he's going to rotate towards B. Glaive, he's going to fall back towards Ivy, knowing that if anyone decides to come out ladder, they're going to have to be roasting through a Molotov. It's very unlikely that somebody's going to make a play when there's utility set up like this. And as well, Device, he's holding towards T-Con. He's in a really good spot by this red train area. So you can see Magis going to rotate away. Glaive rotating towards this area. Very secure from being able to get challenged from anyone that's going to come out from ladder. So this next one, once again, a 4A setup where we're going to see Ivy aggression. And this kind of combines that sandwich peek that I was talking about earlier. So Device, he's going to go for that sandwich peek with the op. They're going to go for Ivy aggression, these two players. And you're going to see that, you know, these two setups kind of blend together at the same time where they're going to aggress more towards this area here, towards T-Con, making sure that nobody can come through. They're going to aggress towards Ivy, and they're just going to leave ladder open in this particular round. So these players, when they come through, they need to make sure that they're not they need to make sure that they're not going to get challenged from ladder. You're going to see that after Glaive falls away, Majesti's immediately looking at ladder. These two players are still doing that T-Con setup. So now Glaive, he's just going to start rotating back towards B. And now once again, this is a very similar setup where now you're going to have one player towards Ivy with his op, kind of watching between Ivy and ladder at the same time. Device and Dupree, they're now going to be in a bit more of an aggressive T-Con setup where Device, he's going to be holding the entrance to T-Con, and Dupree, he's going to be playing anti-flash, right? And the reason why he plays anti-flash is there's a lot of times where Terrace, if they give up towards this T-Con area, they're going to throw a flash to retake, right? So that's what Dupree is trying to counter here. He's trying to make sure that he doesn't get blind in case they throw that flash. Device, he has the angle just in case somebody steps out. Magis, he has ladder, and he's going to be watching towards Ivy at the same time. And something that you can do as the Ivy player is essentially, if you want to focus on watching towards ladder, you can simply just throw a smoke or some utility at Ivy to kind of prevent that possibility. At the same time, vice versa, you can also throw your smoke at ladder and then focus more of your efforts on Ivy. It's all a matter of just utility management. So this next one, I want to show basically understanding when the other team can be out towards the sandwich area, because you're going to see how they basically respect this map control. So what we're going to see here is that, there's going to be a sandwich smoke. Perfecto's going to be coming out towards Olaf. Magis is forced off this angle. The CTs, they're going to double towards ladder very early in the round. But now that they have this information that they could potentially be out towards this area of the map, and if the CTs are towards this ladder side, what they're going to do is that Dupree, he's still going to stay in ladder, but Glaive, he's going to start falling back towards the bomb train, and Zipnix, he's going to be rotating in as well. But what you're going to notice here is that the setup that CTs are doing is not as aggressive. It's basically they're holding a line here, and the line is right about here like this, where it basically everything up to this point, the terrace can be in this area. That's why you see Glaive playing in the bomb train area. That's why you see Zipnix, he's playing towards the old bomb, watching towards Hell. And that's why you see Magis, he's playing on this side of Ivy rather than this side, right? Because they're aware of the fact that the terrace can be in this entire area here. And you're going to see how this works out, because what happens here is that despite the fact that terrace have this area of the map, they still have to go towards the bomb train to be able to actually do anything, right? Glaive and Zipnix are in such good spots where they're basically able to spot for info. Magis, he does a really good job of, using his smokes to basically block off Ivy to take his peaks, right? That's essentially what he did here. He threw a smoke to prevent Electronic from being able to trade him, and he takes peaks towards Sandwich / Hell. Glaive and Zipnix, they're just doing their best to defend from the bomb train. So overall, you can see nobody's overextending, right? They're respecting this side of the map. They're aware that the terrace can be there, and they don't want to give up any picks. They want them to come towards them, essentially. And you can see even here, right? I'm going to rewind this a little bit, but you'll see that there's actually a smoke thrown right here from Zipnix as he rotates in. This is the same smoke that I referenced in the previous round, and this helps Dupree be able to peek this more freely from ladder. But once again, you see they're not overextending too much, but just respecting the fact that they could be Ivy, which is why he has the smoke in the first place. So this next one, I just want to show the importance of getting information and understanding where the hits can be coming from ultimately. So right here, we're going to see that Dupree and Glaive, they're both going to double nade towards T-Con, also throw Molotovs. Magis going to be throwing early utility at Ivy. And now they're at the point where they're pretty sure that nobody's out towards this Olaf area, but Glaive, he's still checking, he's still spotting feet. They have a player towards ladder, and they have Magis watching towards Ivy. Now what you're going to see here is that Dupree, he's going to get double dropped on, right? Magis and Glaive, they're still spotting over. Magis, he wanted to watch towards Ivy from this angle from the red train. It was going to be a setup where Glaive is going to be watching towards T-Con, Magis watching towards Ivy, and one person watching towards ladder. But now that the ladder player has gone down, Magis is going to be taking that spot at ladder with his op. He's going to throw a Molotov to facilitate another rotation. Once again, Zipnix is rotating from Z. Magis wants to make sure that no T's are going to make any big plays at this moment. So Zipnix, he's going to rotate over. Glaive, he's going to toss that smoke once again towards this choke point here. He now sees that there's a lurk smoke. And at this point, Astralis in a 4v5, they're not really sure where the hit's going to be coming from, so they want to get some information. So Zipnix, what he's going to be doing, he's going to be tossing a flash. It's going to land towards Ivy. Glaive, he's going to see absolutely nothing, right? He's going to spot the shoulder of Electronic at Ivy, but he only sees one. The rest of his team sees a hit coming from the other sides of the map, from ladder, from T-Con. So what Glaive decides to do is that he's just going to completely ignore Ivy. And with the smoke that's up here that the terrace actually threw, with the smoke up, Glaive, he's going to be going on top of Green Chain, and they're going to basically focus all their efforts on fighting this side of the map. They're just not even going to bother with watching Ivy. So you see that Magist, Zipnix, and Glaive, they're all trying to fight this angle here, and they're able to get all the kills, right? Because they focus all their efforts on fighting this side of the map. And now Electronic, he's alone, you know, coming in late from Ivy, and the round is basically done at this point. It's very difficult for him to get back into this unless Astralis makes some mistakes. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw, please drop a like on this video. Also, feel free to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you can be notified immediately when I release new videos. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.